Welcome back to MaxsGarajMahal. We're going to talk about a replacement welding gun today we just received, and it is a YESWELDER brand. I bought it off eBay. This is the same gun that I replaced on my, or that I used to replace the gun on my Chicago Electric Dual Mig 151, which is also the same as a Dual Mig 131. The gun also fits a 170 and probably many others on the market. Anyway, the gun works. It doesn't work as well as I'd like for it to. I spoke to YESWELDER, nice guys over at YESWELDER, and you know, it's growing, name's growing really quickly. They've got a lot of people out there that's done reviews on them, and for the most part I've seen really good reviews. And I'm not sponsored by YESWELDER. I bought the gun and I put the gun on my machine expecting to have really good results out of it, and I didn't have the results that I think I should have. It's not really as good a gun as far as the operation goes as the original, and if the original hadn't gotten burnt in the service area just below the gun where it burned a hole through the gas hose, that gun works perfectly. In fact, I am going to repair it and put it away so I can have it for later if I knew it in it. But I talked to them about these two problems, and they'd never heard of this, or at least never had anybody review their guns this way. So they wanted to send me another one to try. So I've got another gun here, and I'm not sponsored by YESWELDER, as I said. I'd be happy to test and review their welders for them, because they can already tell. I'll tell them straight up whether it's right or wrong, and if I see an improvement it should be made. I'd like to do that, as a matter of fact. So put in comments below if you'd like YESWELDER to send me a welder or two and a plasma torch and a few TIG welder. We've got a lot of projects we need to build, and I could use them. We'll certainly review them. So let's go ahead and get to it. And what the problem was, when you pull the trigger, it has a really long travel before it ever engages the micro switch that puts power to the spool feed motor. And it's, again, really difficult to pull, really long travel. And the switch that allows the gas valve to open to put gas to the wire or to the head, to the nozzle as you're welding, it also has a really long travel, and it takes a while for the gas to get there, and you have to make sure you pull that trigger quite a ways or you don't get gas, so it's like you're out of gas. And that's really not acceptable in a welding gun. So after I told them that, they asked me if it'd be alright to send me another gun. Here it is. We'll find out if it's the same gun they shipped before, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be. The guy was really nice, whoever it was I spoke to. They were really nice and really interested in making sure that you and I were pleased with our purchase, and that's the way customer service should be. Ran businesses for over 40 years, and without customers you don't really have a business. So I'm pleased that they shipped another gun, although if they'd have known, and which the question I placed to them was, what do you suggest before I open the gun up? Because I didn't want to open up the gun until I let them know that I'm going to see if I can make the gun work properly. And they said, just let me send you a new gun. There it is. And it says YESWELDER right on it, with 3 different size wire tips. So you will need those if you change wire sizes. Alright, and if you watched the previous video where we installed the gun, I showed you the connections on the end down here, right here, and this doesn't plug directly into my gun, so I cut it off right about here. So if I ever wanted to use this connector, I could have just pushed the pins back out and then cut it off, but I cut it off back about right here, so I could use it for something else some point in time. I did not cut off the gas hose. I made a real nice long round loop, made sure there was no kinks in it, and you can just breathe through it, so there's absolutely zero restriction on that. It's got a really nice heavy electrode, and it's got a really nice heavy, see if I can get that word, get that focus on my hand. Alright, camera, be nice. Alright, we're already 5 minutes in this, we ain't got nothing done yet, so be nice, camera. Alright, anyway, really nice connections there. So, here's what we're going to do before we put this gun on. First thing we're going to do is I borrowed this off of my charger over there. In fact, you can see I've been charging a reviving a Milwaukee battery. So that's what I put in the connectors for that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this connector. We're going to put 2 pins in here. We're going to hook these 2 connectors to it. And then we're going to turn this on and pull the trigger and see how far we have to pull the trigger before it makes a connection. So give me a second, we'll get set up and I'll be right back. And I'm going to start the trigger pull method, trigger pull there. And it's fairly stiff. Alright, there's the first click. That's probably between 17 and 18 pounds of trigger pull. Now it's going back. The record phone call, it's always required. That's pretty stiff as well. Alright, so let's open this thing up. I'm going to show you what it looks like inside. So give me a moment, but we'll just do it on camera here. Alright, to take this gun, open this gun up, all that's required is you take, now these have nuts on the back. They're not just going into plastic. That's a good thing. But be careful, you've got 4 nuts that you don't want to lose. This straps over or straddles the back of the gun, this hook, that's the hooking on things. So be careful of that. You don't want to lose any of this stuff. So here we go. Just give a little nudge here and there. Now these things sort of explode on you when you take them apart. So you got to be a little bit careful with them. And this nut still is, there we go. Alright, so that's what you have inside the gun. And here's, you got a spring here. Herein lies the biggest part of the problem. This trigger is hinged by that little piece of plastic right here in a slot. Alright, now then, do you see this little tab right in here? Right in there, right above my finger. That's the little tab that needs to be a little bit taller to make contact with this micro switch right here, right there. And it needs to have a quicker contact back here with this gas valve in order for that gas valve to allow gas to come out at the same time as the micro switch is engaged, because when the micro switch is engaged, it's going to put power to the spool gun feed, as well as the here, this is fun right here. You haven't seen this done, y'all need to get you one of these guns, if nothing else, just for the puzzle part of it, because you've got to get this switch inside this trigger pocket all at the same time, connecting your spring here. People at YESWELDER know what I'm talking about. It's a little more complex gun than what was on the machine, and I have to say this, I really like the gun that's on the machine originally. and it's really just a piece of crap, but man, it works so well. But I have to say that as nice as this gun is, I really don't think that it's an upgrade. I sure was hoping that it would be. I don't feel that it is. And now, I don't want to run down their gun. That's not the intent here. My intent is to let them know what their problems are, and they need to compare it to the original gun, because the original gun worked great. And all it is just two pieces of copper, flat copper, with the wire soldered to them, and when you pull the trigger, it just makes the contact, and that's it. It doesn't require any pressure from your finger. I mean, it's just really a great little setup, and it works really well. So sometimes improving on something that may not be that great, sometimes a thing that ain't so great works wonderfully. And that particular gun does. I will replace the hose on it. I might just take these off and put them back in the box and hang them up somewhere. I'm not really sure that I would ever use these things once the hose is replaced inside the gun, just to make sure that I've got a good gun. Now, it's not to say that I'm not going to go ahead and try this, because I am. And once I get it on the machine, I'll let you know whether or not I've got, whether this is any better. And I hope that it is. I hope for YESWELDER's sake that it is, because again, the guy from, or the woman, whoever, because I never saw them, it's just, you know, doing it through eBay. They're very, very nice people. I would really love to test some of their other equipment and find that I'm totally wrong. Because, you know, we're not always right on everything, of course, but we all have our own opinion. All right, now then, here we are all put back together, and let's see what she's going to do. And I've got a bunch of old rusty lawnmower blades. Let's try it right here for a second. Here we go. I don't know if you can see the weld or not, but we'll try to do it left-handed here. I'm not left-handed, so. Well, I believe it'll be okay. Not exactly the way I like it, but hey, it'll do. Just have to get used to the way the gun operates. I may not be left-handed ain't helping anybody here, so let's see if I can do this way. That don't look too bad. I'm just putting a little too much wire in there. Okay, so let me come up here and give you a summation. Because in order to make this work really well, I've had to crank the valve all the way open. I've had to crank the gas way up, because when you pull the trigger on either gun, it is a long way in, and it has to go all the way in to make contact with the gas valve button. So in order to get as close to the same benefits from this gun as I did from the original gun, I've really got to have to really over rotate the trigger. And that comes down to this little red trigger. It's got that little piece of plastic that you have to flex this plastic in order to make this trigger move. So I'm going to go ahead and give the gun a thumbs up. I'm going to give YESWELDER a thumbs up for coming to the rescue and offering another gun. I appreciate that. And I'm going to say this, that if you buy this gun, just get ready to get used to the gun. It's not going to be the same thing you had. It's going to be a little stiffer trigger, a little longer trigger pull, a little more wait time for the gas, maybe not much. The way I've got it set now, I mean, I'm going to use a lot of gas. That I don't like. So I'm still going to play with it, and if I can find that I can get it all dialed in, because now I got two guns, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to waste one of them making the other one a good gun. Now, I know it's not what you really want to hear, but being an old gunsmith and an old competition shooter, I'm big on trigger jobs. So I'm going to do a trigger job on the YESWELDER gun, okay? So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and give you a thumbs up, YESWELDER. Customer service is outstanding. It's excellent. The price on the gun, listen, here's the thing. With the gun quality, as far as all the components, and I did check a while ago before I started the video back up. See if I can zoom back out a little bit more. I did check just a few minutes ago, see if it's cooled off enough for me to grab a hold of. Because I got rubber gloves on, that ain't gonna be good to have them stick it to your hand. Alright, we don't want to do that. Okay, so here's the thing. Here is an original Harbor Freight outside nozzle, and it goes right on there perfectly. So if you have some of those, you can interchange them. That means if you have an old Harbor Freight gun, original gun, and you need parts, YESWELDER can fix you up with the gun and the tips and da-da-da-da. So back to the quality of the gun. The gun quality as far as manufacturer, the plastic's heavier. I like the little hook here. You've already seen me use it a few times. The sheathing around all the internal stinger parts here are actually better than the original gun. I like the silicone hose. Silicone hose is much better rather than a plastic hose, the air gas hose. I like that better. The only thing I think that they really need to do here is I think they need to put a pivot on the trigger so that it's got a little loop in there and it has a pin that goes through it so that when you pull that trigger it rotates on a pin. That would bring this gun up to 1000% better than it is at this point. And I don't mean to be harping on YESWELDER. I know this is, and they probably don't even manufacture itself. It may be an outside vendor. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I haven't asked. I really should. And I may, and I probably will send a message to them and ask them about it. But again, back to the liner. The liner is good. The handle grip is a little sharp in places. You could, and I'll probably do a little filing on these things, rounding them off. The trigger's a little sharp on the sides, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to see if I can't make the gun fit me better. And it probably would be perfect for everybody else. I'm just an old competition shooter, and everything just needs to be just right. And I'm not a welder, as you can see. So, well, I am, but I hadn't done it for a while. I don't do it every day like I used to. So I'm going to go ahead and give, again, I know you're tired of hearing this, thumbs up. I'm going to give you 2. Because I know with this input, they've never heard this input before on the gas. They've never heard the input on the trigger. So hopefully this input will help them help you in your purchase and in their sales. So YESWELDER, thank you very kindly for replacing the original gun, and thank you for putting up with my pros and cons. The pros are much better, much more pros than cons. The only con I have is this trigger, and again, you can overcome that. So again, I think if you purchase one of these little guns, and it was a good, really good deal. The gun, it's an 8-foot gun, I believe it is. No way to measure it like this, but I'm going to say it's at least an 8-foot gun. And for $36.99, you can't go wrong with it. I mean, most people would never even notice anything at all. So let's see if I can get you back down here and look at that weld one more time. So we're going to pan you down here and then go down here and zoom in, tilt you down, zoom in, and just see if we can see that weld together. Alright. It's got good weld penetration. The heat's good. And I didn't throw all the heat I could to it, so I could have really melted that too. So it looks good, but you're seeing a lot of this rust around it. That's my fault. I didn't clean that much off of it. I just wanted to see what it's going to do trigger-wise. And I'm happy that I've got it where the gas is going well. And really long talk. I know y'all get tired of some of my chat, but we do appreciate you guys coming by MaxsGarajMahal. We hope you'll hit that like button down there. We hope you'll hit that share button. We hope that you will subscribe if you hadn't already. And be sure and send a comment to YESWELDER that they need to send me a TIG welder, torch to plasma torch. Well, let's try some of these YESWELDER's products out. We'll give you our pros and cons on those. And I'll be flat honest with, if I like it, I'll tell you I like it, and if I don't like it, I'll tell you what it is I don't like about it. So thank you very kindly. Appreciate you once again coming by MaxsGarajMahal. Y'all come back and see us now, you hear?
Tell me true.